The skies darkened ominously as Elara Voss stood at the helm of the skyship, the cartographer's compass clutched tightly in her hand. The once serene drifting islands around them had become a battleground, their peaceful far age shattered by the sudden onslaught. The storm clouds roared above, thrumming with the electric tension of an impending clash. They rehear Cal Merrin growled from the rear deck, his eyes scanning the swirling mists. His fingers danced over the controls, coaxing the ship into a sharp bank that skirted dangerously close to a jagged floating rock. Elara's gaze hardened. Selene's squadron. Murrick's shadow closing in faster than we expected. The first explosion tore through the air, a brilliant flare of fire erupting just beyond the stern. Pirates' skyships, sleek and deadly, emerged like phantoms from the storm, their dark hulls glistening with the glint of steel and menace. Selene, Murrick's ruthless lieutenant, led the charge, her voice crackling over the comms with cold precision. "You can't run forever, Voss. Surrender the compass and this ends without bloodshed." But Elara's grip on the compass didn't waver. "We don't surrender what we haven't yet claimed," she replied, voice steady despite the chaos around her. As the pirate ships closed the distance, the skyship's crew scrambled to their stations. Joran, the eager deckhand, barked orders, securing rigging and readying the ship's defenses. The air thrummed with a metallic tension, the smell of ozone and burning fuel mixing with the salty breeze.
"Brace for impact!"
Cal shouted. The first volley of cannon fire streaked through the clouds, whistling perilously close. The skyship shuddered under the assault, wooden beams groaning as splinters rained across the deck. Elara's heart pounded, but her mind raced faster. "Cal, take us through the canyon!" she commanded, pointing toward a narrow gap between two islands shrouded in thick mist.
"Are you mad?" Cale gasped, eyes wide. "That's suicide!"
"Suicide beats capture," Elara said, voice ironclad. With a roar, the skyship banked sharply, engines straining as they plunged into the shadowed ravine. The pirates followed, their ships cutting through the fog like knives. Cannon fire echoed off the rocky walls, a deadly symphony. Amid the chaos, Selene's ship broke formation, veering toward Elara's vessel with predatory intent. Elara tightened her hold on the compass, feeling its faint pulse as if it were alive, guiding her through the storm's fury. "Steady, steady," she murmured, eyes flicking between the compass and the treacherous path. Cal's hands flew over the controls, muscles taut as he navigated the labyrinth of cliffs and swirling winds. The ship lurched violently, narrowly avoiding a collision with a jagged outcrop. We're losing altitude," Joran shouted, gripping the railing. "Hold on." Elara called, voice rising above the roar. Selene's ship closed in, unleashing a barrage that slammed into the skyship's port side. Wood splintered, and a plume of smoke billowed from the engine room. "Damage report," Elara demanded. "Engines sputtering, but we're still flying," Cale replied grimly. Elara's mind flashed to the compass again. It vibrated softly, pulsing like a heartbeat. She realized the instrument wasn't just pointing the way, it was alive with some ancient power, responding to their peril. "Follow the compass," she urged Kyle. "It knows where to go." Trusting her instincts, Cal adjusted their course, veering toward a dense cluster of mist-shrouded isles rumored to be uncharted. The pirates hesitated, uncertain in the thick fog.
"Now!"
Elara shouted. With a final surge, the skyship slipped through the veil of clouds, disappearing from Selene's view. The pirates cursed and regrouped, but could not follow into the unknown. Below decks, the crew exhaled collectively, the tension easing but the danger far from over. Elara paced the cramped cabin, her mind racing. The attack had been a brutal reminder of Murrick's resolve. He would not relent until he possessed the compass and the power it promised. "We need to repair the ship and plan our next move," she said, eyes meeting Cal's. "And we must be ready. Selene will strike again, stronger and more cunning." Cale nodded, wiping soot from his brow. We survived worse. "We'll find a way." Elara allowed herself a fleeting smile, the fierce spark of hope igniting within her. The compass had saved them today, but it was their will, their unity, that would carry them forward. As the storm clouds broke and the first rays of dawn painted the skies, Elara stood at the bow, the compass warm in her palm. The shadows over the skies had deepened, but so had her resolve. The journey was far from over, and the mysteries of the floating islands awaited. "We sail at first light," she whispered to the wind. "The map is waiting," and with that, the adventure surged onward, into the uncharted heavens and the heart of the unknown. The sky darkened with the promise of another brewing storm, the rolling thunder distant but growing louder as the wind picked up its restless song. Elara Voss stood at the railing of the skyship, the cool gusts tugging at her dark hair, her sharp green eyes scanning the horizon where the clouds gathered like the shadows cast by doubt within her heart. The crisp air was thick with tension, not just from the weather, but from the strained faces and tight silence filling the ship's decks. Trust, a fragile thread binding the crew together, was fraying fast. Inside the cramped mess hall, the flickering lanterns cast dancing shadows on worn wooden walls, mirroring the turmoil stirring within the gathered crew. Voices rose and fell in sharp bursts, heated words ricocheting off the close quarters. Elara sat quietly at the edge of the room, her gaze steady yet heavy as she listened. Cale Merrin, ever practical and witty, was locked in a tense exchange with Joran, the young deckhand whose eagerness sometimes edged on recklessness. Professor Lysandra Hale watched with measured eyes, her presence a calm contrast to the storm of emotions around her. Elara's mind raced. The betrayal they had suffered still stung a wound both personal and collective. She struggled against the instinct that had long shaped her, to trust no one but herself. Yet the weight of leadership pressed down relentlessly, forcing her to reconsider. The journey ahead was perilous, and without unity, they would fall prey to the very dangers lurking in the shifting skies. As voices softened and fatigue took hold, Elara rose and stepped onto the deck, the night wrapping around her like a cloak. The first drops of rain fell, cool and insistent, mingling with the salt in the air. Cale joined her, his leather jacket damp at the collar, a flicker of concern in his rugged features. "You've been carrying too much alone," he said quietly, eyes fixed on the storm's edge. Elara hesitated, the armor of self-reliance cracking just enough to let a sliver of vulnerability slip through. "It's hard to let go," she admitted, voice low. Cale nodded, understanding. "I know what it's like to be haunted by past failures, but we've all got something to carry. Sharing the burden makes us stronger." Their conversation wove through fears and hopes, the night air lending a raw honesty that words in the mess hall could not. For a moment, the weight on Elara's shoulders lightened, replaced by a cautious hope. The next morning, beneath the golden light of dawn, Professor Hale gathered the crew around the ancient map fragments spread across the table. Her sharp blue eyes gleamed as she traced a delicate line, revealing a detail previously overlooked. "This," she said, "could be the key to understanding the island's migration patterns." The room shifted. The shared discovery rekindled a sense of purpose, a fragile but vital thread weaving the crew's disparate fears and ambitions into a single tapestry of resolve. Elara met their eyes, the trust she now fostered reflected back at her. The journey was far from over, and challenges loomed large, but for the first time in weeks, the crew moved forward not as fractured individuals, but as a united force. As the sky brightened, the storm's fury held at bay for now. Elara dared to believe that the crossroads they faced were not an end, but a beginning, a chance to redefine what it meant to lead, to trust, and to explore the unknown together. Yet, beneath that hope, a whisper of unease lingered. The skies were vast and unpredictable, and shadows still hunted their course. Elara's heart beat steady, ready to face whatever came next. But the question remained, could trust hold strong when the storm returned? The horizon stretched wide and wild, the next chapter of their journey waiting to be written among the drifting islands. and the secrets they guarded. The cramped cabin of the skyship was filled with a tense silence, broken only by the faint ticking of the ancient cartographer's compass resting on the worn wooden table. Elara Voss leaned over it, her sharp green eyes narrowing as the delicate needle quivered uncertainly before settling with sudden, unshakable resolve. It pointed not to a place on any map they had, but toward a swirling mass of storm clouds that loomed ominously on the horizon. "This is it," Elara whispered, her voice barely audible over the soft hum of the ship's engines. "The compass is speaking." Cal Merrin, rugged and ever pragmatic, stepped closer, his tousled brown hair tousled further by the ship's occasional gusts. "You really believe it? That storm is unlike anything I've seen. No island has ever been charted in that tempest." Professor Lysandra Hale, seated nearby with her silver-streaked dark hair pulled back, adjusted her sharp blue glasses and examined the compass with a scholar's precision. The ancient texts Ivy studied spoke of an island hidden behind a veil of storms, protected by nature itself. "If the compass points there, then our path is clear, but the risks..." Elara cut her off gently but firmly. "The risks are the very reason we must go. We've come this far, and the secrets of the floating islands depend on it." The crew began the preparations immediately. The skyship, a sturdy vessel built for the shifting skies, groaned under the tightening of sails and the securing of every loose item. Outside, the clouds darkened, the scent of ozone thickening the air. Thunder growled distantly, a reminder of the peril that awaited them. Elara stood on deck, clutching the compass tightly in her palm. The wind tugged at her short dark hair, carrying with it the saltiness of the high skies and the promise of the unknown. Her heart pounded not from fear, but from the overwhelming wonder of standing on the brink of discovery. The compass, more than just an instrument, seemed almost alive in her hand, guiding her not just through the physical storms, but the storms within herself. "We'll need to trust it," she told Cal, who nodded solemnly, his leather flight jacket flapping in the wind, and each other. As night fell, the ship settled into a cautious rhythm. In the dim light of the cabin, Elara spread out hastily sketched maps, tracing lines and making notes. The glow from the compass illuminated her features, casting shadows that danced on the rough wood. Cale sat nearby, offering quiet words of encouragement, while Professor Hale recounted legends that wove the past into their present mission. "Many before us sought this island," Lysandra said softly, "but none returned with more than whispers." Elara met her gaze, determination burning in her green eyes. "Then we will be the first to return with answers." Outside, the storm raged, a living wall of wind and rain. The skyship creaked and groaned as it prepared to face the tempest, but within its crew, a spark of hope and wonder flickered brightly. The cartographer's compass had spoken with it. A new chapter in their journey was about to begin. As the ship edged closer to the storm's heart, Elara's thoughts raced. How would they navigate the chaos? Could the compass truly guide them through nature's wrath? And what secrets awaited beyond the tempest's veil? The answers lay ahead, in the eye of the storm and beyond, where maps ended and legends began. With a final glance at the glowing compass, Elara whispered, "Let's find our hidden world." The skyship plunged forward into the churning skies as the adventure deepened, the compass's guidance unwavering amidst the wild unknown. The storm had come on without warning, a dark tempest swelling in the sky like a living beast, thrashing the heavens with furious intent. Elara Voss stood on the deck of her skyship, the Atherwind, her eyes fixed on the swirling vortex above. Lightning cracked through the churning clouds in jagged, white-hot veins. Rain hammered the ship's wooden planks, turning them slick and treacherous beneath her boots. The wind screamed like a banshee, threatening to tear the sails apart and fling the ship into the abyss.
"Hold steady!"
Elara shouted to her crew, her voice barely audible over the deafening roar. Her sharp green eyes scanned the horizon, searching for a way out of the tempest's grasp. The cartographer's compass hung heavy around her neck, its brass casing warm against her skin despite the chill in the air. She could feel its faint pulse, as if it were alive, whispering secrets only she could hear. Below deck, the tension was palpable. Cale Merrin gripped the helm with white-knuckled determination, his tousled brown hair plastered to his forehead by the rain. "This storm's no ordinary squall," he muttered, eyes narrowed against the spray. "It's like the skies themselves are trying to swallow us whole." Elara nodded grimly, knowing he was right. But there was no turning back now. The fragment of the compass map they had uncovered had led them here, to the eye of this very storm. Somewhere within the tempest was the hidden island the compass was trying to reveal. Suddenly, a dark shape loomed on the deck behind her. Elara spun around, heart thundering. Captain Mythic Crane stood there, a cruel smile cutting across his weathered face. The jagged scar on his left cheek was a stark contrast against the pale light flickering from the compass. "You've come far, Elara," Mythic snarled, voice low and cold. "But this compass belongs to me. Give it up, and I might let you live." Elara's grip tightened on the compass. "Never," she said, voice steady despite the storm raging within her. With a sudden lunge, Mythic reached for the instrument. The two clashed violently, their struggle echoing through the howling winds. The compass slipped and spun wildly between them, its intricate engravings glowing faintly as if responding to their conflict. "Cal," Elara called out, dodging a savage blow.
Keep us steady!
Cale's voice rose over the storm.
I'm doing everything I can! This ship's barely holding together!
The deck lurched violently as lightning struck nearby, splintering a mast. Celine, Mythic's fierce lieutenant, appeared at his side, her eyes gleaming with malice. She lunged toward Elara, forcing her into a desperate defensive stance. Every muscle in Elara's body screamed with exertion as she parried blows and searched for an opening. The compass pulsed stronger now, its glow intensifying, casting eerie shadows across the deck. Then, in a moment of clarity amid the chaos, she felt the compass's secret stir within her grasp. Now, she whispered, twisting the compass's dial with a precision born of years of study. A hidden mechanism clicked, and a beam of ethereal light shot forth, cutting through the storm's darkness. The tempest seemed to falter, the winds dropping to a whisper, the rain easing to a gentle mist. Before them, the swirling clouds parted to reveal a breathtaking sight, a radiant island suspended in the sky, bathed in golden sunlight, its lush greenery and crystalline waterfalls shimmering like a dream. For a heartbeat, all fighting ceased. Even Mythic's eyes widened in disbelief. "This is it," Elara breathed, awe and triumph flooding her veins. The island no one else has ever seen. But the moment was fleeting. Mythic snarled, rage twisting his features. "You haven't won yet." Elara squared her shoulders, feeling the weight of her crew's hopes and fears. The journey was far from over. But now, with the compass's full power revealed, they had a chance. A chance to unlock the mysteries of the sky and claim a new chapter in the age of exploration. As the Atherwind steadied, cutting through the calm air toward the hidden sanctuary, Elara allowed herself a brief smile. The heart of the storm was behind them, but the true adventure was just beginning. The storm's fury had tested them all, pushing Elara to the brink of exhaustion and beyond. Yet in the eye of that raging tempest, she had found not only the compass's secret, but also a new depth to her own courage. With Cale's steady hands at the helm and her crew rallying behind her, the path forward was illuminated by the light of discovery. And as the hidden island grew larger in the viewport, Elara's thoughts turned to the promise whispered by the compass: endless skies, uncharted worlds, and the unyielding human spirit that dares to explore them. The Atherwind sailed on, cutting through the clouds toward a destiny written in the stars. The sky had begun to clear in the aftermath of the tempest, the heavy clouds parting to reveal a pale sun dipping low toward the horizon. Elara Voss stood at the edge of the rocky shore, her boots sinking slightly into the damp earth as a gentle breeze whispered through the towering trees behind her. The scent of rain mixed with the fresh, earthy aroma of the island's lush vegetation. Around her, the remnants of the storm still lingered, puddles reflecting the amber light, leaves dripping with moisture, and distant thunder rumbling faintly like an echo of the chaos they had just endured. Her sharp green eyes scanned the rugged landscape. This hidden island, cloaked in mystery and shielded by the furious storm, was unlike any they had encountered before. Jagged cliffs rose sharply from the shoreline, their faces carved by centuries of wind and rain, while beneath the canopy, vibrant flora swayed softly, untouched and pristine. It was a world reborn from the storm's fury, wild, secretive, and full of promise. Cal Merrin approached silently, his weathered leather jacket damp but intact, his rugged features marked by exhaustion and relief. "We made it," he said quietly, his voice carrying the weight of their shared ordeal. "The storm nearly tore us apart, but here we stand." Elara nodded, a faint smile breaking through her fatigue. "And we have the compass. It led us true, even in the darkest moments." Together, they moved inland, their footsteps muffled by moss and fallen leaves. The crew gathered behind them, setting up a modest camp while Professor Lysandra Hale examined the terrain, her sharp blue eyes absorbing every detail. The scholar's presence brought a sense of calm and purpose. Her knowledge was a beacon in the sea of uncertainty. As night fell, the flickering glow of torches illuminated a narrow cavern entrance nestled between ancient roots and stone. Inside, the air was cool and thick with the scent of damp earth and age-old secrets. Elara's heart quickened as she stepped into the darkness, the beam of her lantern revealing intricate carvings etched into the cavern walls. Symbols and maps intertwined, telling stories of the island's origins and its place among the drifting archipelago. Professor Hale's voice broke the silence, reverent and steady. "These carvings confirm what the compass hinted at. This island was once a hub, a waypoint among the floating isles, a center of knowledge and navigation." Alaric knelt before a massive stone slab, tracing the faded lines of a map etched deep into its surface. The contours depicted islands previously unknown, their positions shifting gently like living things on the ancient stone. Her fingers trembled with excitement and awe. Each new discovery was a thread woven into the vast tapestry of the sky's mysteries. Returning to the skyship under a star-studded sky, the crew gathered around a makeshift table on the deck, lanterns casting warm pools of light over fragile parchment maps unearthed from the cavern. Cale spread the maps carefully, his brow furrowing with concentration as he and Elara plotted courses into uncharted territories. The air buzzed with renewed energy. "These islands, they change everything," Cal said, voice low but fervent. "We're not just chasing legends anymore. We're on the brink of real discovery." Elara's eyes shone with determination, "And the compass will lead us there. We just have to be ready for whatever awaits." Professor Hale joined them, gently lifting a delicate fragment of map. "We must also remember our responsibility. These lands are fragile, their ecosystems delicate. Exploration without respect could bring ruin." Her words settled over the crew like a solemn vow. The weight of discovery was matched only by the duty to protect. In that quiet moment, the bonds between them deepened, a shared commitment, not just to chart the unknown, but to honor it. As dawn approached, Elara stood once more at the ship's helm, the horizon awash with the soft pinks and golds of a new day. The endless sky stretched before them, filled with secrets and possibilities. With the newly revealed maps in hand and the compass's steady guidance, the journey was far from over. It was only just beginning. The air hummed with the promise of adventure, and beneath it all, the steady beat of a heart determined to explore, to discover not only new worlds, but the depths of courage and hope within herself and her crew. And somewhere beyond the clouds, the unknown awaited, the endless sky called. Elara tightened her grip on the compass, eyes fixed forward, ready to chart the next chapter of their extraordinary voyage.